Wonderful. So we'll get started. Very respectful of everyone's time. Thank you so much. The main person is going to be talking in just a moment. So I just wanted to say a thank you for taking time out to share in something that Ginny and I are very, very excited to share about. And that's been something through COVID has evolved into something even greater than what we anticipated. And it's amazing how, when you look at things and you look at how you thought things were supposed to be, and then through those challenges, you can find an even better way of doing things. So the OMP Educator program, we've had so many people that have been emailing saying, when's it happening? When's it happening? Bear in mind, we were doing everything to make it happen, but with all the changes and things that happen, we didn't want to just do something, create something for the sake of it. Still had to be something very meaningful, very supportive. And we believe we've come out with a structure and a way in which we can still nurture and support people in their growth and their journey, and doing it from a virtual experience as well, until someday when, and hopefully not in the so distant future. So thank you everyone for taking time. For those listening to the recording, thank you so much. And we really appreciate the opportunity to be in front of you sharing this. I'm going to let Ginny start off because there's so many things that she's got to share, and I want to add some components and stuff into this as we go along as well. So the floor is yours, babe.
Okay, so welcome to finding out more about the OMP Educator program. And of course, my pointer doesn't work. Okay, so to certify to be an OMP educator is a 3-step process. The first step, which means that you have already completed, which is to attend the OMP workshop, whether you did it in person or you signed up for the program online. The second and the third step would be the steps that will be taking you through it. And the second step is really having a solid and thorough understanding of OMP concepts and OMP protocols. And then in the third step, we're going to journey with you through a transformational process of learning how to apply the OMP concepts and protocols and what it takes to transform into an OMP educator. So part of this movement is being a part of the bigger picture, right? To make a difference in the way women give birth. And I put there 97% because we brought our cesarean rates down to 3% in our practice. So about 5 years ago, you may have heard me talk about this before. 5 or 6 years ago, our cesarean rate within our practice was ranging from about 11 to 16%. But since we started OMP, we brought it down to about 10%. And then over the past 2 years, I think, 2 or 3 years, we managed to bring it down below 5%. So depending on which year and what's happening, we brought it down to about 3 to 5%. And this is to somewhat show people that there are things that actually can be done to bring down cesarean rates. And a lot of it I attribute to the techniques that we have actually used to help labor to progress. So it's about finding out what you can do to decrease medical intervention and to decrease cesarean rates. And often, whether you are a new birth professional, someone new who's into birth, or someone who's very experienced, the challenges are the same. Often when you go for births that are great, you walk away feeling great on a high, and you go like, wow, that was great, it was a beautiful birth experience. But the birth experiences that usually keeps you up at night are those where you didn't know what to do. You felt stuck. You thought about it and you're wondering, like, what could I have done better? I tried. And a lot of times you hear people saying, oh, I did rebozo, I did this, I did that, and still this baby wouldn't turn and things. And even though you may have a practice where maybe 80-90% of the births are great, it is that 5 to 10% or more that stays, that sticks in your mind, because you want to make a difference to those people as well, and not just celebrate the 80 or 90% of the great birth experience. So this is something that's going to give you the tool to know what to do when the going gets tough. And part of this program is forming a community. What was interesting as we got the registrations, right, for people who are interested in certifying to be an OMP educator, people are saying the same thing. Can we find a community of people where we're speaking the same language? We can help each other debrief the birth and understand what we can do better. In our practice in Singapore, where I run 4 trimesters, and Inga and Janelle are all part of that practice, It's really interesting because we practice what we call group practice. And one of the perks of group practice is to help accelerate the growth, which means that we take the time every 2 months or so to come together to sit down and debrief the births and go through what we could have done better prenatally during the birth or postpartum to support the women through the process. And having done this for 17 years, one of the learnings I've learned from that was that when I was at the peak or coming up to a tipping point in Singapore of doulaing, this was very, very early in about 2006. So that was about 14 years ago, right? Where I was solely practicing alone and getting 6 to 10 clients a month and just completely getting too busy to be able to handle the load. I was doing really, really well. I was getting, I was overbooked. People were always coming. But I didn't realize I had a problem until my clients were expecting the subsequent child. And then when they come back to me to engage doula services again, one of the questions I would ask them is always, now that you've already experienced it, how would you like it better? And only when they shared with me how they would like it better, then I realized one of the failures at that time was not putting in the time to debrief what actually happened. So now that I've run group practices for close to 10 years, right? One of the benefits of group practices is that when you debrief together, you really help the other person avoid mistakes or help the other person be more effective at the birth. So that's part of the community that we are aiming to create. And I truly believe that in order to help women have a better birth experience is finding a way of truly making a difference in the way women choose to give birth. And a lot of times, especially when you are a doula, you get misunderstood, right? People go like, oh, what do you actually do? Do you actually make a difference? Yes, we do. But how do we truly make a difference, whether you're a midwife or doula at a birth? And that still is having the tools to enable labor to progress. Because at the end of the day, when a woman walks away from the birth experience, even if it ends up in a cesarean, she wants to walk away knowing that she was given the opportunity to try whatever she was able to try. And at least she can walk away knowing that there's some closure, there's some integration, that I did everything I could. And for whatever reasons, if it turned out well, great. If it didn't turn out well, at least I was given the time and the expertise to guide me through to try as much as I was willing to try. So a little bit about myself. Most of you know me already. And part of the program that we're going to bring that's going to be distinctively different is I don't just teach, I also attend births. And I still attend births every month. I don't attend it the way I used to attend, like 6 to 10 births a month. I attend at least 1 birth a month, on average about 3 to 4 births a month, kind of thing. So I still am very actively involved in births, and I apply what we have learned and see whether it actually works or not. So part of the perks of still attending births is really testing out the protocols and the techniques to see what works and doesn't work.
And you're probably thinking, why is her husband standing there? And so for those that don't know me, Andrew, I am Ginny's husband. I play a very behind the scenes role in everything that is birth. I'm certainly not the person that's where the business is happening, but the supportive role that I do in regards to business itself and 4 trimesters in behind the scenes is also alongside some of the things that I do in the corporate world. And that is in regards to helping businesses, individuals and people. And I've been a coach since 2009 about people exploring their true potential as whatever industry they're in. And in fact, here in Singapore with one of the big airlines tomorrow, I'll be running something because everyone right now is obviously going through some real challenges. And the thing is, it doesn't matter what the industry is. For me, I love to see people doing what they were born to do. And I know and have learned many, many things that are able to tap into bringing that out. So I'm really, really excited in sitting down with Ginny as we plan this out to be able to then support people that are coming on this journey, to be able to look deep within, to start to understand some things that are not just about birth, but are about the individual as well. So I'm really, really excited about what I'm going to share a little bit later on. And just so you know, I have attended 1 birth. So I'm technically a doula in training, which was an amazing experience witnessing a home birth, in my opinion, of how birth is supposed to be.
Okay, so we're going to go into the details of what to expect in the training. Step one, of course, the prerequisite is to have attended the workshop, whether you have done it online or whether you attended a live workshop. And often having taught over 500 people or more than 500 people have attended the workshops. What's very interesting is often people walk away from the workshop going, oh my God, it all made sense. Like, I completely get it. You know, this is going to be so helpful. It's going to really change the way I work with women. But then by the time they get out of the workshop 1 or 2 weeks later, whether they take the time to go through their PowerPoint and revise the notes whatsoever, a lot of people stumble. They go, I don't know where to start. I'm not sure what to do. And I've been privileged enough to not just do birth debriefs with my team of doulas, but I also get to do birth debriefs with midwives. There are midwives who have actually just contacted me and say, look, do you have time for me? I just need to really understand what happened at this birth and what we could have done better. I did so many of this and so many of that, and still, you know, the birth wasn't progressing. And in the end, the mother had to transfer, and they were really upset with the fact that mothers had to transfer. And often when I hear them like go through the birth debrief with them, I will go like, have you tried this that we talked about at the workshop? Have you tried that? So, oh yeah, I didn't think about it. I only did this and that, right? So often when people attend a workshop, they take what they need or what they're familiar with, and then they just do that. They don't actually fully utilize the potential of what they have actually learned at the workshop. So when we go into step 2, which is the beginning of the OMP Educator program, it's an 8-week program. The first 4 weeks, we're going to focus on understanding. And it would require that you would spend for the next 4 weeks about 4 hours a week following a 4-step program. So every Monday, we'll release an online video. And this is going to be time-based week by week. So on Monday, we'll release an online video, and then you watch the video first, and you have to complete the online assessment. Every Friday, we'll have a weekly webinar for those 8 weeks. And the webinar is going to be 1 hour, where after you've watched the video, we're going to work on what we're going to talk about that week. Because part of it with online learning is making sure that you have your pre-homework before we come online, so everyone is on the same page of what we're actually going to cover that week and what we're going to learn hands-on virtually. So that's the purpose of the weekly webinar. And of course, this will be recorded for those who cannot make it. So the weekly webinar will be on a Friday, and the online assessment has to be completed by a Sunday. So we're actually creating the pace for you. Unlike most online programs where when you join an online program, then you go for it at your own pace. What we've found, myself included, where I've signed up for other online programs, when it's not actually planned out and mapped out for me, if I don't have the discipline to fit it in my schedule, it doesn't happen. So the way the OMP Educator program is done is to help you to succeed and to follow a certain pace. So then you don't fall into the trap of coming up with like, oh, I was too busy, I was this, I was that, and everything. It has to be completed within a certain time period. So the first 4 weeks, we're gonna break down the OMP workshop and what you need to know. Okay, all the concepts, the protocols and everything. So at the end of step 2, you have a very good understanding, if not excellent understanding, of all the concepts and protocols. And when we get into step 3, we focus on applying what you have learned.
So with week 5 and 6, that's where I get to play a really intimate role with everyone. And that is, it's really starting to understand that, as you all know, most that work as a birth professional in whatever that is, a doula or a midwife, a lot of things that we do as individuals, and especially for birthing mothers, the psychological element in understanding what makes humans do what they do is something that is also relevant for us as we go through a journey as well. We didn't want this to be something where you just learn all of the techniques, the concepts, and then also just leave it at that, where you have the education, the knowledge, and you can apply it. We also wanted this to be a transformational journey. What does that really mean? It means that the ability to articulate what you've learned, the ability to communicate really well, the power of storytelling, the ability to then learn about yourself, your purpose, your why, to communicate that to others. And the ability to then communicate well gives you the confidence in a birth setting. You know, for me, and I see all of the messages come through, and I'm a part of the background of everything birth that's in the world that I now play in. And it's really awesome to see how people grow through the experience. And we see Inga on the call, and we see Janelle. I get to be witness of all the conversations, and I notice and I see how they grow through that as well. So for me, the vision for an OMP educator is not just to grow in skills, but it's to grow as a person. And for doulas, for midwives, whoever that is, to have that ability to be truly confident from within, they're the people that can hold the ground for women. They can hold the space for women. And when you can start to understand that deeper within, plus applied knowledge alongside that, you can really make a difference, in my opinion, for the opportunities for birth in the way it should be.
So 5 and 6 focuses on the personal transformation of what it takes to be an OMP educator. And basically, we're not just looking for people to just teach, we're looking for people to make waves, right? To basically be leaders in their own right. And part of it is giving them that confidence together with session 7, where we go into childbirth education skills. So childbirth education skills will start with from week 5 all the way to 6 into week 7. And because the first 4 weeks, we spend a solid 4 weeks going through breaking down everything that you have learned into a solid understanding, that by the time you get out of step 2, a lot of things will be way clearer than just attending the workshop. So in step 7, we're going to talk about application, how you're actually going to teach, and with demonstrations of how you're going to teach the concepts, the protocols, the ability to teach parents what you have learned, not just during pregnancy. So the aim is that during pregnancy, whether you do it on a one-on-one setting or you do it in a group setting, you would have the ability to teach OMP for parents. And for labor and birth, you would have the ability, if you don't attend births and you're just a childbirth educator, you would have the ability to deconstruct birth debriefs and case studies to know how to apply OMP. And if you do attend births as a doula or midwife or birth photographer, whatever it is, then you are able to effectively utilize OMP concepts and protocols during labor and birth to help labor to progress. And then come week 8, we're going to bring it all together to talk about where do we go from here and what happens after. Now, the whole program is going to be a year, okay? But the starting point of certification is going to be 8 weeks. So step 1, you would have already attended the workshop. It will be good if you're preparing for this to do a revision and start watching the videos again, since most of you who attended the workshop attended at a time when we were giving the online access anyway. Step 2 will start in September. So every Monday, we will release the online video and then you do the online assessment. And it is very important that the assessment is done before Friday. So you can do it anytime from the time you finish watching the videos, but it has to be done by Thursday. And then on Friday, we'll have the live webinar, whether you watch the recorded version or you come on live, and you have to finish the assessment by Sunday. Of course, you can finish it right after on Friday, but the deadline will be on Sunday before we get to the next week's agenda. So the whole idea is set up for success. As long as you follow our pace and you partake in it, and you follow the pace of what we set out for you, you will be able to certify. It will be very difficult to not succeed. So in this, during step 2, the time commitment needed will be about 4 hours per week. And we're going to have a certain momentum for the first 4 weeks that will set you up to create a habit around making time to prepare. Now, when we go into step 3, the commitment and time will increase by an hour every week. So with the same schedule, on Monday, you'll have a video to watch. You have to do the online assessment by Thursday, if not sooner. On Friday, we'll have the live webinar, but instead of 1 hour, we'll now go into 2 hours. And from there, again, the online assessment has to be done by Sunday. Now, there will be video submissions of you as part of your assignments, demonstrating OMP concepts and protocols as if you were teaching it to parents. And whilst you have 8 weeks to submit this, by the time we're at part of step 2, I would already prepare you for these assignments, which means that you're already doing these assignments when you can choose to do it when you're going through step 2, or you can wait until step 3 to get the assignments done. But we'll give you a further 8 weeks to submit this. Until you submit the videos, and the videos do make it, and if they don't, we'll ask you to resubmit whatsoever. Only then will you be certified as an OMP educator, given a certificate, as well as an OMP badge that you can use for your marketing purposes. What happens after, from the time we start the program, we would use an online platform called Slack as an communication tool to stay in touch with the group. So anytime you have any admin questions, you have anything to do with birth, you have things that you like to ask about the curriculum, etc., we will all communicate through this online platform. And the whole idea is this online platform is part of the membership program, where you still have access beyond the 8 weeks. You have access for another 10 months to support each other. And every fortnight, we'll have a live webinar to go through a certain question to support you in your growth, whatever it is that you have or would like to ask.
And the other key too is when it comes to being an OMP educator, one thing I recognize is that some people have learnt so many things and they give so many gifts to the birthing world. And sometimes that doesn't always, I guess, become a tangible thing that means that people are also supported for that. And by that, I mean, we want you to be successful, not only as an OMP educator in what you do, as a doula, as a midwife, but also to be able to give you in the form of money, the appreciation of the things that you do out there by you earning from what you learn. So when I bring this topic up, for a lot of people, sometimes, when it comes to birth, there's always a stigma around, obviously, the income or things that can be generated. Now, for me, the confidence within and your ability to communicate and teach and to go and make a difference in the world, you should be rewarded for that. You should be appreciated for that. Some of the things that I've learned that I want to share with all of you through this journey as well is how we can help you to succeed and also be appreciated for that in the form of monetary value. So for me, if I look at it, it's that your wisdom and your determination, your courage to go out there is something that you should be rewarded and appreciated for. And so that's where, thank you. So that's where when I look at it, we label it the business of birth in a way. It's that it's not an entitlement, but it's a form of you showing your worth out in the world. We want you to be seen as the prestigious person that's making a difference, making an impact, and people valuing you so much in what you do. And there's ways in which we've done that. And that is primarily if you are, and you will be ready to at the end of the training and you're certified to be an OMP educator, you can run a parents course, which means you can do it either one-on-one sessions, and we will support you by promoting you on the website, promoting your upcoming events. And you will have a look on the OMP website now. We've even got a spot, a facilitated area for OMP educators. We want to see you out there sharing these gifts that you have. And so you keep 100% of the fee. We don't want anything for you being out there doing what you do best. So when it comes to running group workshops, we've set what we feel is a benchmark that all OMP educators could potentially earn for a group setting in what they were doing with a workshop. Plus, the biggest opportunity we see is to support and complement people that maybe aren't there running workshops. And they're people that believe in what we are all doing here collectively. And they are able to share all the information, the knowledge and the wisdom that we've already created in the form of some of the programs and give you a larger piece of it from an affiliate commission, meaning if you share it, you also earn from people actually investing in those programs as well. So we want to be able to give you things that are going to support you financially so you can really start to make a difference, support yourself, support your family, and also be appreciated and rewarded for that as well. So that's one of the things that are really keys. And I want to make sure that when we look at that journey, it's not in an 8-week journey. You learn how to do it. You're confident in being able to do it. And how do you then take that out into the world? And that's where I really would love to play a big part in holding your hand through that and supporting you through that. So just to give you an idea of how we see some of that level of support. You know, obviously the training, that'll be with Ginny. Obviously I won't be doing anything birth related. But to me, those things that we'll be doing in that 8 weeks will have you ready, have you confident, having you with the knowledge, the skills, with a community behind you that want to see you succeed to go and take it out into the world. We will also give you all the opportunities of the training materials that you're going to need to run those sessions to be able to facilitate. So when it comes to the slides that you'll be using, everything that you'll need to successfully go and run that workshop. We will give you access to the OMP for Parents workshop as well. That's the recorded training. Now, the reason for that is that you'll be able to watch and learn beyond your training to pick up on the tips where it's actually Ginny teaching parents. So you're going to be able to learn and model some of the language that's going to help you then turn it into your own way of presenting it into groups or into one-on-one sessions. When it comes to the affiliate commissions, we have an affiliate program currently, which is at 10%, but you'll be able to earn 25 to 50% on some of the programs. So I share when it comes to fortnightly group calls and support. Sorry.
For the affiliate program, right? For example, like Janelle and Inga, they are chiropractors, and all they do is work with lots of pregnant women, right? And when pregnant women come, they educate them not just about preparing their bodies for giving birth. And sometimes they may, say like, when you do these exercises, these can be helpful for you. And if the parents want to find out more, or if they choose to buy OMP for parents, then you get an affiliate commission from the parents purchasing the online program. In the same way, if you are a midwife and you're already working with a hospital, you're not in private practice, you are working with a hospital. And in the same way, you don't get whatever money you spend on continuing education. Most of you don't get subsidized for that. It's coming out of your own pocket and your own desire to want to learn. And often when you're educating your women on preparing for birth, you just point to the website and go, hey, you check out this website. It will give you a lot more details on what you need to do. These are the exercises that you can do. I will show you one right now, but we don't really have the time to go through everything. Or worse still, during COVID, when a lot of the prenatal consults are actually done via video call, and you're not even able to see the women one-on-one. This is where, when you are recommending a program and you give them the affiliate link to sign up for the program, you get a commission out of that, which can fund your future continuing education for doing what you actually do. So there are opportunities for that when it comes to affiliate commissions.
And obviously for us, it's finding ways in which we can help and support you in being able to nurture that and to find opportunities and ways in which you can be showing up more in the world, be that social media or whatever it is, in ways that you can be promoting yourself and getting yourself out there. One of the things that was really amazing, as Ginny said before, we read through each and every one of the Google forms that you filled out. And what was really amazing was everyone said the same thing. There was not one person in there that didn't say, we want to go out there and do this by myself. Everybody mentioned that need and that want and that desire for community and support. And what I love is when I look at a community like this, that's the intent of making a difference in women's lives and empowering women through birth. What I love is that this group will just form something very, very special, especially the pioneers, people that are coming on this very first journey. It'll be a group that wants each other to succeed. So when I talk about the affiliate program, there's people that will find ways in which it worked for them. They can share it with others. And that's the whole point of this open communication and support. So that's going to be really, really important. Now, as well as that, you'll get a one-on-one session with either myself myself separately to Ginny as well. And obviously they're going to be related differently to whatever things that you're learning or challenged with. So throughout this 12 months as well, you have access to us to be able to book in a session. And so you get one-on-one session where maybe you can fine tune some things that you're doing, or maybe it's that you've been doing some things that isn't quite working and you want some support and guidance in that as well. I want you to get that when it comes to all of the support with the Slack channels and things, this isn't a one-off thing. This is a 12-month adventure and journey that we go on together. So that's what I'm really excited about. As well as, obviously, our intent is to be able to promote, to serve you, to bring OMP as a brand together out there into the world to support and help you shine out there as people that are leading the way in birth. And I love that quote. I think it highlights it when we talk about the community. Alone, we can do so little, but together we can do so much. It's that when you're a doula, when you're a midwife, and not only that, when you're in different parts of the world or the country, if you can all come together to share collective wisdom, there's something very special in that. So that excites me to think of what it's possible for all of you as you all come together and what you learn and what you teach out in the world.
One of the things I'm always very proud of when I'm going through things like this and going through our slides is that all these pictures are not stock photos. So these photos are actually photos of our clients, and that is our Superman baby, where the baby came out like that and stayed like that.
That's my favorite photo. I love it. Wow.
Okay, so when we say who are you, what we're asking is what it takes to be an OMP educator. We're not just a program where we want you to just have the tools and skills, but we want you to have very good communication with your ability to be able to communicate that to parents. So one of the things that's very common, for example, is that you as a birth professional, you've studied it, you've gone through the workshop, you go, hey, these things are really good for you to do during pregnancy. And a lot of birth professionals face the situation where the parents go, nah, it's too much work. I don't have time for it and everything. So part of it is you may have the knowledge, but it's also very important to be able to communicate that effectively in such a way that you can motivate the people that you work with to actually do the exercises if you get to meet them from the time they're pregnant or during labor and birth when they're needing help, to be able to convince them to actually do the protocols if and when needed as part of your skill set to be able to bring your success rate. When I say success, as in helping women to have better outcomes, helping women to truly have the birth that they desire, that they choose to have.
So that quote, another relevant quote that I really like, it's that when you look at life and you look at, for the conversations that I have with many midwives and doulas, one of the things that is sometimes really challenging is sometimes it feels like you're constantly in this battle and this fight. And sometimes, I hear the stories of people that are sort of just going through the motions. They've lost the reason, the passion, the purpose as to why they got into it in the first place. And for me, I look at that wasted talent and opportunity as OMP Educator program being something that reignites that flame. And so for me, what excites me is when I hear Ginny share things and I see the messages and I see births play out, even from the communications of WhatsApp and things like that. And I know the results that come from the work that was done. And one of the things that Ginny makes clear as well is it's not OMP that did it. It's that the mother believed. And when the mother believed, and you can back that up with real tools and tangible things, you can truly make a difference to the impact of lives. And more importantly, what that means for you as the person that's facilitating that. So when it comes to the educator program, there is an investment to do it, of course. And the investment for me, most importantly, is the time that you need to put in. We made it very clear at the start as well, of the time commitments, because we understand life sometimes gets in the way, especially in the year 2020, right? Life's turned some really interesting challenges our way. So it's that we're really looking for people that are truly committed to come on that journey, meaning the time commitments to make sure that you're aware, you're prepared, you're able to put that time aside to give to yourself to be able to learn and grow through that journey as well. So once you become a certified OMP educator, the certification that you get will be valid for 3 years. Now, why is that? Because as Ginny always shares, she's always learning and growing as well. There's always things that, when she looks through things, and she can speak for herself in a moment, that you're always adding to. She's always learning something new, because the thing that I understand, you all tell me if I'm wrong, but there's no two births that are ever the same, right? So the reason for that 3 years is that we want to be able, in 3 years' time, that you recertify so that you're up to speed with all of the latest things of learnings and collective wisdom that's come together.
And recertification, our purpose for recertification is simply to ensure that if someone calls themselves an OMP educator, then they must have the knowledge and skills to be able to convey the message of what OMP is all about, which is understanding all the protocols and be able to communicate that. So we don't want a situation, having trained people for 10 years, right? I started doula training, about 10 years ago. I see a lot of people certify and then fall off the bandwagon, and then 5 years later still call themselves a doula, even though they haven't really attended any births, or attended 10 births and go like, okay, I'm an expert kind of thing. Being someone who has done this for 17 years and attended over 1,000 births, that definitely wasn't my journey. There was a lot of learnings, and there's still a lot of learnings as I go through it. So part of the reason why there is a recertification, and recertification is easy in the sense that you just take an online test to demonstrate your understanding. That's all you do for recertification, okay?
Great. So when it comes to the investment in the program itself, the other thing I want to make clear in my role along in supporting this as well is within 6 months, if you know what to do and do what you know, and you have the confidence to be able to do that, be that through the affiliate program or be that through running your own workshops, I want you to have made this back to mean that you've shown yourself what's possible. So the investment for the program is $2,995. That's in Aussie dollars, AUD. So that means you also get included in that a 1-year annual membership. Now, the annual membership means that at the end of that year, once we go on this 12 months ahead, at the end of that, if you wanted to rejoin, we sincerely hope there's so much value in that because you will come along again for those fortnightly calls and be part of the community. The intention for the membership and the annual membership as well is to reinvest back into promoting and sharing and getting the word of OMP out there in the world through marketing and strategies and things like that. So it's to grow that community. So the other thing too is we recognize that sometimes that investment upfront might be a substantial amount for a lot of people, but they still want to come on the journey. We have another option, which is a payment plan, which is an initial deposit, and then you can pay it off monthly. And by that time, you can start to earn, and then possibly, in my opinion, within 6 months, pay back the program and the initial investment as well. The other thing for all our friends that are midwives and people that can actually claim from ACM in Australia, we're submitting everything for this program. We don't have the finalized number of CBD points that you'll get for this, but you will also have that opportunity as well.
Oh, it'll be quite a substantial amount of points with the hours of investment.
So let's put it out to you. I know there's a lot of people that were struggling to get on with the time. If there's any questions you have, they'd be so greatly appreciated as well. We try to give everything through in as little amount of time as we can to make sure we don't take it away from families. If you have any questions, you can simply unmute your microphone. Let us know if there's anything that maybe wasn't clear in what we shared, or there's something that that maybe needed a little bit more insight specific to you. You can also take it offline and send us an email. There'll be details of how you can do that in a moment. If there's something that's more personal for you want to discuss, you can also email us there. So any questions, just feel free to unmute your microphone. Okay. Wonderful. If there's no questions, the email address is there if you have any other questions as well. We will send this recording out to everyone. So if you want to listen back to it, and maybe you can pause on some sections to get a bit more clarity on it as well. There is a link. Our technical support will be putting that in the chat box now. If you wanted to come on this journey, we'd love you to. We were really excited. Ginny and I have discussed this for the past 3 months in refining this to make it what we see as something so valuable for the birthing world as well. So there'll be a link there. I'll be sending that to you by email as well. If you wanted to look at the payment options as well, we can certainly arrange that for you. So you just need to send us an email. So it's education@ibirthprofessionals.com. Apart from that, thank you so much for taking time out to come and spend with us. I know Ginny and I are super excited just to see this first inaugural pioneers that step out into the world and become OMP educators. I think as this births, it's so exciting to see what comes of it as well.
Thank you very much, and we will catch you online.
Wonderful.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.